Born of Shadows, the making of a serial killer. He was like a ghost who came through the windows without being seen, hit without giving any warnings, and went away with the breath of fear that followed the pentagrams and low voices calling Satan. During the hot summer of 1985, LA was not the only scared of crimes, it was also scared of the devil coming down to earth. It was not only a murderer, it was the Night Stalker. Over these next few moments, I'll cover two areas: Ramirez's killings and his obsession with Satanism. I am credible on this topic because I have conducted extensive research on this topic. I would like to begin by telling you a little bit about Richard Ramirez's violent crimes. The Night Stalker case is the name given to a terrifying crime series that Richard Ramirez perpetrated in California in the middle of the 1980s. It's a massive story of his horror rampage that started with the killing of a 79-year-old woman on June 28, 1984, and ended with a series of homicides, rapes, and kidnappings, mostly of women and defenseless people. Like most killers, Ramirez grew up in a broken home. His father was extremely abusive, and his only role model he had was his older cousin, Miguel. Miguel filled Ramirez's head with violence and the use of drugs. Theft turned to violence with Ramirez's first discovery of murder on June 28, 1984. The victim was 79-year-old Jenny Vincao, who was sexually assaulted, stabbed, and killed during her burglary in her home. His last murder was on August 25, 1985. Ramirez subsequently decided to break into the home of Bill Carnes and Inez Erickson. He shot Bill in the head 3 times. Before raping her, he told Inez, "The Night Stalker was here." Now that I have shared with you about Richard's killings, I am going to inform you about his compulsion for Satanism. Richard Ramirez was fascinated by Satanism. He frequently called on the devil during his assaults, made pentagrams on the scene, and shouted "Hail Satan" to let people know that he was a helper of the evil forces. Ramirez was interested in Satanism and even stated that he was a Satanist while he was killing people. He used to leave at the place of the murders satanic symbols, for instance, pentagrams that, in his view, were parts of a larger ritualistic motive. The idea that he was a servant of Satan and that Satan was ordering the killings appeared to be in his mind, the reasons for the crimes, and also a method of making his image more terrifying and scary to the people. The San Francisco Examiner quoted Ray Garcia, 27, a former El Paso classmate of the suspect, as saying that Ramirez was obsessed with satanic themes in the 1979 rock album Highway to Hell from the band AC/DC. There are instances when he compelled the people he killed to pledge allegiance to Satan or perform strange ritualistic acts before he murdered them. This aspect of his killings that were sadistic and psychological made him, in particular, a very scary kind of monster because his victims not only feared their physical harm, but also the horror of the satanic speech he used. For all these reasons, I would like to finish up by asking you all to remember how horrific Richard Ramirez's murders were. Richard Ramirez's vicious killings were largely a result of his fixation with Satanism. He not only used it to justify his violence, but also to frighten his victims by carrying out rituals and to build up a scary image of himself as one of the devil's servants. I've provided examples of Richard's killings and a large motive behind them. Besides a series of horrific murders, Richard Ramirez's reign of terror also brought a lasting legacy of fear that was deeply rooted in his terrifying commitment to Satanism. Ramirez's offenses were, in fact, the launch of a terrifying psychological war, with the use of ritualistic symbols and satanic proclamations that made every murder a dark theatrical show of the devil. To sum up, Ramirez was more than just a killer. He was, essentially, the Dark Prince's Dark Prince, an agent of evil that his fixation with Satanism made the terrible nature of his deeds to be doubled and as a result to be etched indelibly amongst the frightful characters in the history of crimes. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you learned more about Richard Ramirez.